Is this thing on? Sweet.
Okay, maybe you two could share one and we could share one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We'll introduce ourselves.
All right, are we live? Okay, hi TikTok. Hi,
Hey.
we're here. We out here. We're at WordCamp US 2025 in beautiful Portland.
Oregon.
And I'm Darian Lusk.
I'm Michelle Frechette.
And we be running the WordPress.org TikTok. And we have some guests coming through in the next hour, probably less. So, but block out the time. And we're going to be talking content creation, the future of posting, where WordPress fits into content creation, and how to use WordPress to elevate your content. So let's introduce our esteemed guests.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Christian Taylor, also known as Krailer, and I make videos helping entrepreneurs find the right tools to grow their audience.
I'm Ryan Welcher. I'm known as Ryan Welcher Codes on YouTube and Twitch, and I do a weekly live stream on WordPress development, and I'm a developer advocate that's sponsored by Automatic, so I get to do that full time, which is too much fun. So, yeah.
Amazing. So, you guys, you're out there on the front lines. You're WordPress pros, and you are posting, and we love to see that. And so, I'm just curious, what are your main platforms that you use, and what do you think? Where do you think content creators should be posting? Where do you think they should be going next?
That's a great question. My main platform is YouTube. I'm also a little bit active on Instagram, TikTok, X. I think where it should be going next, I'm partial to YouTube. I think it's the best platform as far as monetization potential, but if you're into short form, Instagram, TikTok, definitely a priority. So I think it just depends on what type of content you like creating. Big picture, if you can do both, why not? Long form on YouTube, short form on TikTok and Instagram. If you're going to pick a format, then just pick the one that you're most comfortable with and do that. I think it's more about creating the content, getting the reps in, and less about the platform. But you are going to have to consider your business model. It's easier to monetize the content itself on YouTube. If you're going short form, you may have to lean more on sponsorships, maybe some kind of paid community to support you. So you kind of just have to zoom out and think about your goals a bit more.
I would mirror that entirely. My primary platform is probably Twitch because I am a developer. I'm trying to speak to developers, which is there's a lot of developer content on YouTube, not so much in the Twitch space. There's a few other streamers that are doing stuff, but specifically the more intermediate to advanced developers don't really have. There's not a lot of content in there. There's a ton on YouTube about like getting started in WordPress and stuff like that. So if you are a good developer or a stronger developer, I think there's a real market. There's a need for complicated, in-depth, probably more long-form, video tutorials on YouTube. I think that would be my recommendation.
So I have a question for both of you. I follow you on lots of platforms, and I hear what you're saying about like Twitch is the primary, YouTube's primary. How are you using those maybe tertiary platforms like TikTok, like X, as funnels to your main content, if you are, or if it's just like, I just happen to be in all the places?
I have just recently taken my live streams and using the magic of AI, creating highlight reels and really short, like shorts on YouTube. They are ridiculous, funny, hopefully. Like the whole point is just to get people looking at it and it's like, what did I do on my stream this week? And then trying to funnel that back into either showing up. I multi-stream on both Twitch and YouTube, so there's a bit of both there. I haven't really used TikTok that much, mostly because I'm 46 and don't understand it. But my 14-year-old daughter helps me out there. So
I've seen you there.
Yeah, I think I have 4 or 5 videos on there, and she's always like, "Dad, you have to do more trends," and I'm like, "I don't know what that means."
Sorry to steal the mic. Before I forget, can you guys shout out your handles so that anybody tuning in on live can?
Oh yeah, great
idea.
idea.
Smash that follow button.
Sure, yeah, I'm just at Krailer on YouTube, and then Instagram and TikTok at KrailerMade.
I'm Ryan Welcher Codes, all one word, on basically all the things, Twitch and YouTube for sure. So.
Awesome. If you had an answer to that question.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm using TikTok and Instagram. I would say mostly for brand awareness. My philosophy is I want to be everywhere. I'm trying to build a personal brand, so I want people to see my face, even if they don't know my name. My goal is to go, oh, it's that guy. Like I'm just everywhere. So maybe it's more of a brand awareness strategy in hopes that they come to YouTube or my website. I mean, long-term, big picture, I really would like to build my own community, own that audience, whether that's a newsletter, paid community, probably some of both going on there. But at least for now, YouTube kind of is the main product. So those other platforms are just funneling people back to YouTube.
Nice. Yeah, it's good to have funnels.
Right. So guys, a great strategy is if you're posting shorts, put your YouTube in that bio, send people. You got to have a CTA, a call to action. Redirect, send them to your main hub of content. And, speaking of a main hub of content, I think that there's this real sort of discussion that we've been having all week about what WordPress has to do with TikTok, with content creation, and where does old WordPress stand in the next wave of content creators and of content creation. And something that I think is worth considering is having that hub be WordPress. If you're a creator, I would not sleep on WordPress because, and this might be a buzz phrase, but you can really own your content. And I think that's something that we can really discuss and maybe try to sell you guys out there on trying WordPress as a place to centralize your brand, your persona, and your narrative as a creator. What do you guys think about all of what I just said?
I think it's a great idea. It's something that creators need to be thinking about. I know there's a lot of concerns that social platforms may shut your account down for one reason or another. Or what if that platform gets bought out and doesn't exist? Or what if they change their monetization model and then all of a sudden you don't have a sustainable business anymore? So I think creators are already thinking about how to build their own community, but rather than doing that on something like Teachable or School, why not do it with WordPress where you own your data, you own the platform? Maybe that's not technically the correct answer because it's not like you own WordPress. I don't know, in a sense, kind of. But you have full control over it. If one web host goes out of business, you can move your stuff to somewhere else. Or if a web host decides that they don't want to host your site anymore, you've got options there. So I think it's very important for creators to consider. And the other thing I think about as I was choosing a platform to launch my course is I don't want to invest a lot of time on someone else's platform only for them to raise the price. And then my choices are either I'm forced to rebuild this community elsewhere, and that's a huge time investment, and money, or I'm just kind of stuck. And they know that. And we saw this with Teachable. They just, maybe not just, I think it was a few months ago now, but they significantly increased the price of their base plan. Anyone who had that plan, what are you going to do? Are you going to put in the time and money to migrate somewhere else, or are you just going to put up with it and pay them more money?
And for anybody scrolling by on TikTok, there's short attention spans out there. So I just want to remind you guys, we've got 2 content creation pros in the chat. So you're going to want to tune in. You're going to want to stay seated because we've got some great tips coming up in the next few minutes. We may have some extra guests coming in. We've kind of got a revolving door going, so you never know. So don't scroll away because there's stuff to be gleaned from this conversation.
So I have a question. And if you want to answer the other question, we can come back to you. Okay, good. Okay, perfect. Link in bio. That is such an interesting thing to navigate, right? So does your link in your bio go to your website? Did you build your own link tree? Are you using one of those kind of link tree things that are out there so that somebody else's actually could shut down and then your whole thing's gone there too? What are you doing to like at that top of funnel to let people know all the places that you are?
mostly just pointing people back to YouTube. I started with Twitch because that's where I do my primary, like that's where the live content comes from. And then YouTube is always sort of almost a secondary thought because that's where the recordings go, sort of thing. But I've found that like it's kind of switching now. Like people want to, I stream at a very specific time, like 10:30 Eastern. Sorry, shameless self-promotion there. And yeah, that's Thursday at 10:30 Eastern. Join me live, Ryan Welcher Codes on Twitch. But people always want to tune in to watch the streams because they may be on the other side of the world, which is amazing. And so I tend to send people to YouTube so they can get a sense of the kind of content that I'm creating. Twitch doesn't hold on to content forever, and it just seems to be less of an archive.
So you have a whole library of what you've done there.
Guys, don't sleep on Twitch. I love that this is your wheelhouse, and I feel like Twitch is so slept on. And Christian, I'll let you. I'm gonna let you finish. But I'm just thinking about slept on platforms, and I feel like LinkedIn. I know Christian. I know that you be on LinkedIn posting these shorts, and I think that. Ryan, do you post on LinkedIn as well, some of your videos?
Yeah, I actually, that's one of the platforms that I live stream to, is LinkedIn, which is interesting.
I think that LinkedIn is so slept on as a platform for content creation for short form video. And I feel like get in while the getting's good because LinkedIn's really great. And those videos are showing up in feeds like crazy. And that's something to definitely add to the tab.
Yeah, and something that's... I get to travel to a lot of conferences all over the world, and in Asia especially, that is the primary means of connecting with individuals in this community, like very, very, very much so. And like prior to like my first WordCamp Asia, I had LinkedIn. I didn't really do a lot with it, but then it was like, oh man, I met a lot of people, made a lot of connections. So there's a real audience there, especially not on this side of the map, So it's something to consider. Absolutely. Right.
And TikTok, if you're just tuning in, we've got Krayler Made, we've got Ryan Welcher. They're content creation pros. So I know I said this 5 minutes ago, but please stay in the chat because this is masterclass level stuff. You're gonna want to stay tuned for what's coming.
So back to that link, the link tree.
Sure, yeah. So right now I am using one of those out of the box tools. Shout out to Hey Link Me, though. They're a great company. Okay. I know the founder. I think with my website rebuild that I'm working on, I'm going to bring it in-house and do it in WordPress. One of the reasons for that is I have this huge SEO problem right now where I have way too many domains and all these different web properties. So my new philosophy is funnel as much as I can through one website. Show Google, like, this is Krayler, this is the entity. So I think I'm going to bring that back in-house, do that as a page on my WordPress site. But currently, yes, I am using one of those convenient tools.
So let me tell you what I do. I'm a creator too. So I have a website that I created in WordPress called meetmichelle.online. So meet me online. And it's all the different social channels I'm in. It's all the different projects that I've created for the WordPress community. It links back to my main site, my CV, like all the things are in that one spot, and my bio. And there's a separate from what a lot of those, link tree kind of things. There's a contact me form right there too, so people can get to it. So I think that WordPress is perfect, especially with the block editor, because blocks are phenomenal for these kinds of things, to make buttons to be able to click through to other places. So I like that idea. If you have any questions, I'm happy to help you later.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you guys. And I think we have a surprise guest joining the chat. Do we just have somebody enter through the doors?
I see Michael.
We've got Michael Cunningham. He is another content creator.
Yes, he's big on YouTube as well.
Big on YouTube. He's posting for WP Media right now. And why don't you, Michael, you want to come
Y'all
to the
are welcome to
stage.
stay, but if you want to go grab lunch, we understand that too.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'll give you my spot here.
Thank you so
Ryan,
much, Ryan.
What's your handle one more time so we can...
Ryan Welcher Codes on Twitch and on YouTube. So come hang out and we'll build some blocks together.
Follow on LinkedIn. Yes. Thanks for
Thank
being
you,
here, Ryan.
Ryan.
Michael, join us.
One out, one in. You know,
We're calling it chat roulette for a reason.
chat roulette. I like that, guys. Chat roulette, come through. There's no IP there. We're cool.
There's not at all.
No issue.
So we have been asking everybody to introduce themselves. Tell us a little bit about your social platforms and where you are directing most of your content.
Sure. So my name is Michael Cunningham, and like you said, I am currently working with WP Media. We work with plugins like WP Rocket, Imagify, Rocket CDN. I am a content creator, YouTuber, I like to say, and I primarily create content to educate people about WordPress plugins or just SaaS products in general, but particularly WordPress. And on YouTube, it's my jam. I love YouTube. The first video I ever posted was in 2008, so fairly early to the game.
Before it was cool.
Before influencers and monetizing was a thing, for sure. And so now, that's what I focus on. I create videos to help course creators and coaches build online platforms. And outside of that, I have my job at WP Rocket.
Awesome. And so one thing that I think really unifies you guys, aside from, well, we got it, guys. Please silence your phones before you come to chat roulette.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
Oh, where was I? No, just kidding. So something that kind of ties you two together as creators, not only that you're in this WordPress space trying to sort of teach the next wave of creators about owning their content, how to create their content, using WordPress to elevate your content, but you're also both sort of capitalizing on the sort of pipeline from long form content to shorts. And I'm wondering, Michael, what's your approach with that, and what are some platforms that you sort of feel are the most important for sort of going from long form to short form, or having those be intertwined?
Yeah, I think.
And Christian, you as well can answer.
Yeah. I think right now, YouTube is the second largest search engine online, and a lot of times you'll see a lot of traffic flowing through YouTube. So it's the first platform that I speak to and tell people, hey, if you want to create content, if you want to put information out there, I think that's one of the platforms that you can get the greatest reach. Outside of that, for short form, there is YouTube Shorts. However, I do believe that platforms like Instagram and TikTok are more catered to a short form audience, although we are seeing some advancements with YouTube Shorts as well. And so I'd say if you can post on as many platforms as possible and diversify doing long form, we're seeing a shift where long form was originally like 10 minutes plus. Now we're seeing people do long form videos beyond 10 minutes, 30 minutes. And that's really taking off because people just want information, especially in a technological space. But short form is where it's at, I would say as well too. If you can put out as much content, you're more than likely guaranteed to build a good platform and an audience there as well.
Awesome. And Christian, what do you think about that sort of dichotomy, or anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think Michael nailed it. I do like using YouTube Shorts in particular because you can funnel people right to a long form video. They've got that feature where you just tap the little play button and pushes them right over. But like I said earlier, I look at it all as brand awareness, my face just being all over. This sounds kind of silly, but my goal is I want people to be sick of me because I'm everywhere. Because I had this experience. Yeah. I had this experience, amazing creator by the name of Roberto Blake. He creates educational content for YouTubers, learning YouTube best practices. And so when I was newer to this game and researching, how do I get my video to rank higher, there was always a Roberto Blake video on every topic. And I was like, it's him again. I can't get away from him. But his content's super helpful. He's great. But I kind of took that as inspiration, is I want to be that way in the web product space.
Yeah.
So what that means is you can never cut your hair or shave your beard, because then nobody will recognize that face anymore.
Well,
That is
listen,
your brand.
don't fix what isn't broken.
That's
you
true.
know.
That's true also.
And so something that you guys touched on that I think is really interesting is sort of social media and these platforms as an SEO tool. And I was wondering, and the idea of best practices, and I was wondering if you guys had any just like quick tips for the watchers out there. I don't know how many there are, but if you have any actionable tips for creators who are looking to capitalize on SEO, whether it be TikTok Reels or YouTube Shorts or even LinkedIn, is there captioning? Is there something what do you think of, baked in captions of hashtagging? Like what's in vogue? What's the move?
I'd love to hear Christian's take on this first because Christian has a much larger channel than I do. So-
Sure. Yeah, I mean, most of my knowledge is within YouTube, so I'll start with that first. I would say back in the day, tags and keywords were a lot more important than they are now. I think it's similar with SEO on blogs in general. These days, I would say just make content that appeals to humans. The algorithm is very good at understanding the context, knowing where to rank it in search. I do still think it's worth optimizing keywords. Why not? I mean, if YouTube still offers the feature, might as well use it. So there's a plugin called vidIQ that I like. It helps you just do your keyword research. Like if you're familiar with Yoast SEO, it's basically Yoast, but for your YouTube video. It's free. They do have paid options, but I've always used the free version. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. Another thing, this is a hot take here. I think a lot of people would disagree with me on this, but I still think it's worth having human captions made for every single video you put out. For a couple reasons. There's the accessibility side. I think it's just a better experience for the viewer when the captions come up in complete sentences rather than the YouTube auto transcription. It's like every word. I don't like that. I've always thought that's goofy. But that's more an accessibility thing. From an SEO perspective, that is one of the main ways that YouTube determines how and where to rank your video. And again, this is going to be controversial here, but I don't fully trust AI to do the transcription. It's getting more accurate. It's gotten much better. It's a great resource, but all it takes is a few words mistranslated or transcribed rather, and potentially the algorithm has the wrong idea about what your video is. I mean, a great example is I had a minor typo in ChatGPT the other day, and I thought a human would look at that and understand, oh, that's a typo. I know what he meant. But the answer it gave was completely irrelevant, totally different to what I was asking because one character was off. So imagine if the algorithm has the wrong context because you trusted AI for the transcriptions. So I would definitely recommend either do human captions yourself, or I use a service called rev.com. It's like $2 a minute to have a human do the captions. I've been doing that for years. I'm very passionate about that from an accessibility standpoint, but also I think it's only helping you with SEO. With the other platforms, I'm a lot less knowledgeable on them, but I think, again, with hashtags, it's like, are they as important as they once were? I don't think so. But are they still supported by the platform? Yes. So you might as well use them.
That's a great answer. Also, Michael, before you answer, do you want to drop your handle? Because get your handle in the chat. Drop some plugs if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on most of everything except for X. I don't use that platform, but for everything, it's Michael O. Cunningham. And yeah, you'll find me there. You find me on YouTube, find me on Instagram, and I'm not quite yet on TikTok. It's a platform I'm hoping to dive into soon enough. But yeah.
Awesome. And do you have any thoughts on best practices? Just some quick tips for the viewers out there. Hopefully we have a couple of you guys, and thank you if you are watching. We appreciate you. We see you. We hold space for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Christian definitely hit the nail on the head. I do think that people prefer authenticity. They're looking for things that are real, especially the way that we search now, where even when you go to like a platform like ChatGPT, you're typing specifically what your problem is. And that's where I think you can capitalize on now. So I'm going to give you guys some tips here because this is exclusive. You could probably find this online somewhere. But there is a checkbox in YouTube, and I'm talking YouTube specifically, where you can index your video so that LLM models like ChatGPT, Gemini are able to see your content. Because now when you search on ChatGPT or any of these LLM models, they recommend videos as well, all right? So what this does is it allows it to be indexed so that your video might be the first option that shows up. So as far as an SEO perspective, since the way that we navigate search and search engines is changing, no one is necessarily going to a platform like Google anymore. We're looking for things that give us an instant response with the information already spread out for us, so that we don't have to go through tons and tons of different links. So that's something that you could look into. I forgot the name of the checkbox title, but if you go in your YouTube studio, you can find it in settings. As far as other platforms outside of YouTube, I don't have much experience like Chris here, but what I will say is for a platform like LinkedIn, having a good hook at the beginning where you have like something that is in reference to what you're talking about, a good keyword, that tends to help most times, especially when people are looking on platforms like that. And I think across the board, you definitely want to ensure that you understand your audience. You must understand your audience, understand what they're looking for, and really just dive deeper into, understanding, if I'm looking for a plugin that talks about speed and optimization, make sure you have speed and optimization in your title, right? Don't talk about...
Seems like you would know that, but you never know.
Right, don't talk about technical terms like the LCP. Maybe there are people looking for that, but you definitely want to come from a perspective of, what are people looking for? And definitely don't use, I agree, like using ChatGPT for everything. Yes, it's a helpful tool, but I do think, if you understand your audience enough, you can utilize that to find good keywords.
I have a follow-up question. What is the etiquette, as you understand it, or how you use it, in tagging other creators and other profiles? So not, tags like in WordPress, but how often should you at all? And the reason I ask is I get tagged a lot of things that are completely not relevant to me, and I had nothing to do with, because they're trying to ride the cachet of my account. So I'm cautious about how I do that with others, unless it's completely pertinent. Do you have an understanding or some kind of protocol about how you approach that?
I guess for me personally, I think just asking a question, is it okay to, tag you in this? Because there are times where someone may not necessarily want to be in the spotlight, or, there might be some drama that's going on in the space. And so you definitely want to tackle it from an ethical perspective of just asking a question, ensuring that they're comfortable with it. But for the most part, I think when it's a larger corporation, it's easier to just tag and things of that nature. But with people who you can actually come into contact, and it's not like some customer rep or whatever, I think it's you can reach out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I generally don't tag people unless it was a direct collaboration. If they're in the content, if I post a photo at an event, then if they have a public account, sure, I'll tag them. Sometimes on X, if I have a question for someone or I'm trying to create engagement, I might tag them in a post. But that's an interesting question. I've never really thought about tagging people just because.
Do you know who was tagged this week more than any other person in the entire world this week? Taylor Swift.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to get that wrong, so I'm glad you spoke first.
There was big news about her, right? I have to look in ChatGPT, and hopefully there'll be a video that'll come up. So I want to remind our viewers on TikTok Live, we've got Michael Cunningham and Christian Taylor in the chat. They're both content creators in the WordPress space, and one tagging thought that I have as somebody who creates some content, I dabble. I would say on Instagram especially, I think everybody knows this by now, but the more people you have marked as a collaborator on your post, these videos now on Reels, I'll see like it's made by like 6 people, and I'm like, what? But that's sort of the practice now. It's like the more you can just like tag people as collaborators, the better. It's like make it a group project. And a question I have that I think could really tie this amazing conversation together is sort of something, Michael, that I saw that you posted on LinkedIn recently, discussing WordPress's place in the content creation space, not only catering to content creators, but for content creators, and what content we're creating, but also how to attract the next wave of content creators. And I'm going to loosely quote you, and you said that the younger generations are not paying attention to WordPress, and that the next wave of creators are going elsewhere. And I would love to take this moment to try to urge people not to do that and to come through to WordPress. And I was wondering, we were talking a little bit about some plugins you're using to elevate your content, and maybe just if you wanted to give a little elevator pitch on why some up-and-coming creators should consider WordPress as they start to make their mark and make their personal brand.
Yeah, absolutely. I could talk about this all day long. I'm so passionate about it. I do think that WordPress has so much to give. And so when I see that it's being seen as like this old tool or this old website builder, I'm like, no, they just don't understand what's possible. And so I think in order for us to really reach that audience, we need to continue doing things like putting content out there and really educating them on what is possible with the platform, about the community. I think not just the younger generation, but people in general, once they are aware of the community and what's possible with WordPress and scaling it, I think that's going to really be an incentive for them to continue being interested and invested in the platform. For me personally, what I'm doing is I'm trying to put out as much content on different platforms that talk about the flexibility, the open source aspect of it. You control your stuff. I think people are looking for simple and effective and nothing too complex. And I think that most times, depending on who you're talking to, WordPress can come across that way. And so if we can make things fun and we can educate, someone told me today that it's called edutainment. I've never heard of that terminology before, but I loved it because it really just allows us to reach a larger audience. And so I'm hoping that people will invest in WordPress. It's a great platform. We have a wonderful community. We're able to come to events like this and meet each other. I'm from Trinidad in the Caribbean. I'm like miles and miles away, and being able to come here and meet people who are also passionate about it, I think that's what it's all about. So I'm hoping that we can do more and more of that in the ecosystem.
Awesome. And Christian, what about you? Big question, but
Yeah, I mean, I always go back to pitching the vision of open source. It's hard to get someone invested in WordPress when they're tempted to go with another platform that may be easier to set up when they don't understand the why behind it. Sure, WordPress is powerful. It's always going to be more flexible, capable than the majority of alternative tools that you could use. But at the end of the day, I think for most creators, it comes down to a time savings thing. Oh, it's so convenient to go to Shopify and throw up a merch store there, or just use Kajabi for your online course. So, yeah, sure, WordPress might be better, but it takes too much time. Well, I want these creators to understand the importance of owning your audience, owning your platform. Because when you're going to these third-party tools, they could raise the price at any time. We saw that recently with Teachable. They could decide that they don't like your content and flip the switch and poof. And, with WordPress, I guess the version of that would be your web host pulling the plug. But if they do that, the files are still yours.
Absolutely.
You can take them and go somewhere else.
Right. And that's not the case with Schmanva or Figma. I'm not gonna say I can say it.
Those are swear words today.
Yeah,
Huh?
no, I know. I mean, I'm going to say the alternatives, and I know that, scrolling like our own For You page, like I see where the kids are going. But here's what I think I would say, like WordPress and owning your personal brand and putting and investing in WordPress for your brand is a worthy investment, because if you're looking to be a creator in the long haul, it will pay dividends, and there's so many benefits to your digital footprint by using everything that infrastructure has to offer. And yeah.
And I think even from a privacy standpoint, with WordPress, you can have full assurance that you know exactly what's happening with your audience's data. I mean, I won't name names. I guess we're not naming names here, but let's, hypothetically, another course platform, they could say that they're not using the data, but how do you really know? And I know someone watching this is going to go, oh, yeah, but what about your web host? Ha, got you. Well, you can choose a web host that you really trust. And that goes back to the community aspect, the in-person engagement. I just got to interview the founder of Rocket.net. Like, you can meet people here that are executive level in these companies and build that relationship and then be confident that I know host XYZ is not abusing my data in a way that you're just never going to have that relationship with a lot of these closed source platforms.
So we have another creator that's joined us. Tess, do you want to come join us over here? We have another chair over next to.
Oh, we've got another surprise guest. We have Tess Needham.
I'm excited. Tess is giving a talk here at WordCamp US about creativity with WordPress, because we don't often think about the creative aspect. We think about getting information out there. Y'all are creative. I'm not saying you're not, but that's her focus. And so you've been listening to some of this, I'm sure. I didn't see exactly when you joined us. But first of all, tell everybody who you are and introduce yourself. And if you've got some handles out there that we should be following, let us know. Sure. And then we're going to ask you some creativity questions.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm Tess Needham. I work at Automatic for WordPress.com. And I blog at tessneedham.com. And you can also find me on Instagram, Tess Needham Art. So I work in marketing, but I didn't always. I have a very long and varied career background. But basically, when I started at Automatic, I didn't start in a creative role. And I remember being in the interview, and the hiring manager said to me, "You know, this job is not creative." And I was like, I can make any job creative. Hire me, But I didn't really believe it at the time, but it sort of sent me like thinking about what creativity means to me. And yeah, I've sort of come to realize that creativity is really important to me and that it's kind of like oxygen to me. And so I sort of bring it to everything that I do, and it has now made me be in a more creative role. I try and look for creative opportunities everywhere. So I just really believe in creativity.
Yeah. I think a lot of times when we talk about creativity, especially along the lines of marketing, things like that, people think it needs to be bold, garish, bright, in your face, and that's not true, is it? Creativity can show itself in many ways.
Right, like I have this definition of creativity, which is it's very broad, and you can apply it to lots of things. And it's just all about the inputs that you have and then filtering those inputs through your own personal skills and experience, and just who you are, and then sharing that back with the world. So it's a very broad, it doesn't mean that you need to like show up, like you're saying.
It doesn't have to be neon.
No, it doesn't have to be neon, although neon's cool, if that's what you're into. But the thing about it is that it's unique. It's unique to you. And therefore, it can't be replicated by AI. AI is great as a tool in lots of ways, but it's something that's just so you. And the fact that it's so you, it makes you feel really fulfilled when you can be creative. So my talk today is all about bringing creativity to work. How that can help you to stand out when you're trying to get a job. My application for Automatic was a comic book, which I'm actually going to be showing in my talk. And then to be fulfilled at work while you're actually in the job. And then also to reply back to the naysayers who might say like, oh, that's just frivolous. Actually how it can be valuable for the business as well to be creative. So those are the kinds of things that I cover in my talk. But yeah, I just am obsessed with creativity and technology.
So one of the things that creativity does is it lets us stand out in the crowd, because everybody can be creative in a different way. So Christian and Michael, they're very creative. They're not cookie cutter of each other. Yeah. And so like, in YouTube creation, because that's their primary format is YouTube, I want to ask with them too, like what they see as their creative outlet and how they've brought their creativity into it. Then you can critique it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, you can. Please rank out of 10.
Oh, I'm sweating now. Uh-oh. No, I really like that question, especially because my background is in content creation first, and then I just sort of fell into a niche that was one of my interests. So I know for a lot of people it's the other way around. They're a developer, designer, they decide they want to start creating content. So I think my approach has always been what works for content creation? How are you typically creative? Through storytelling. I really try to focus on bringing that viewer through the journey, painting a visual for them, helping them understand complicated concepts in a simple way. And I think that's something that's challenging in this space. The temptation can be just give them the step-by-step instructions every click. And I don't want to step on any toes here, but that may not be the most creative way of doing it. So just focusing on that storytelling aspect. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, focusing on storytelling and study entertainment creators and see the tricks that they're using and how you can pull some of that into your educational content.
And can I interject? I just want to say Christian on YouTube at Crayler Made or at Crayler?
Just
At Crayler. Great thumbnails. And I think that's a great practical use of creativity because, you see all these YouTuber thumbnails and it can get a little monotonous or a little bit homogenous. And yours are so, they really stand out. And, I love sort of how a thumbnail can like be in relationship to a video title. And I think that how you're cognizant of that is a great real case use of creativity in content creation.
Yeah, I'll just add, I think it is a great question because I did not have a creative bone in my body growing up. Also, I thought, I failed art. And in art, all you had to do was literally, you could do it. It was so abstract. You could do whatever. But I just was not confident enough that I had that creative aspect component to myself. And so it was only through later on that I discovered, okay, maybe in video, in telling a story, like you mentioned, I was able to take my talents there and show my the creative side of me in through video and sharing my experience. I started with vlogs, and then I eventually got into more like education, technological components, and I was like, okay, I can bring that component to it as well. And so I think I know that there are a lot of people out there who don't think they're creative, and I'm speaking to you. If you don't think you're creative, there is something unique about you that you can share in a unique way. And that's the thing about YouTube. Like a lot of times I'll talk to people and they're like, well, I don't think I'm creative enough or that I have the talent to start a YouTube channel or a TikTok or Instagram and to share their voice. But your voice is important. It does matter. You can bring something new to the table that isn't there. And I think people undermine authenticity and being able to share, your expertise. And I think if you can capitalize on that, then yeah, you're a creative, by default.
That's great. And I love that sort of, bit about authenticity. I think that's such a, authenticity is such a, we all hear it thrown around. You got to be authentic. Like authenticity is key. But, I think that sometimes the most played out terms are the truest. And I'm wondering, and maybe Tess, you could speak to this, like how do you feel that creativity and authenticity could sort of like yes and each other, or how you feel like maybe you've been able to use your own creativity to implement or to augment authenticity or find that inner authenticity in what you do or for any of you guys?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I'm cannibalizing my own talk this afternoon a little bit here. But yeah, I talk a lot about authenticity, and creativity is inherently authentic because it is from you and your skills and your own experiences, like I said earlier. I think the challenge can be like really knowing yourself is the life's work for a lot of people. And it's okay for creativity to kind of be a journey towards authenticity as well. But I came to this place of just thinking like, I'm going to just put myself out there. This is what I want to show to the world because it's who I am. And if they don't like that, then that's okay, because I feel good about it because I'm being true to myself. And I think also creativity, because it's authentic, it's like the ultimate antidote to imposter syndrome, because you can't, there can't be another you. So as long as you're being like true to yourself, then, you know, you can't be an imposter. So it's, you know, of course I'm nervous about my talk later. It's not like I don't get nervous or anything, but yeah, it is, authenticity is such a key part of creativity because it really is about, it can only come from you and it's really who you are. And if you're able to connect with that, then that is like your most true expression of your creativity.
Yeah. And something I'll say is like for me as a somewhat content creator, I would say that weaponizing vulnerability has really helped me along. And I would say to anybody watching, lean into your vulnerabilities, share them, use them to connect with people, because I really feel like somebody's vulnerabilities are unique but also universal. And I know this is another cringe term, but you know, it's climbing cringe mountain. And I think that but that's really so important to finding your place in content creation and finding authenticity in content creation is like sharing your full self. And I think that there's such strength in vulnerability.
If I can add to that, if you want to see what vulnerability looks like, go to Christian's channel and look at all the faces he makes in his thumbnails, because they make you want to click through and go, why is he making that face? And there's vulnerability in not looking picture perfect, right? And having those like, what kind of faces out there. I love that.
Well, thank you. And you could scroll back too and see what I looked like when I was in middle school. It's not very flattering, but all the content's still out there because I want people to see where I came from.
Well, do you guys have anything you'd like to add? And I would love for you each to share your handles or where we can find you one more time. And Tess, I'm sorry we caught you at the tail end, but this was great. And I don't want to take too much from your session. I feel like we're like stealing your IP. So
Good dress rehearsal.
yeah. So is there anything you guys would like to add sort of to the viewers out there, maybe thinking about getting into content creation, maybe getting into WordPress for content creation, or just anything else we didn't hit while during this awesome kind of session? Yeah.
I'll just lean in and say that, again, I think for people who are trying to get into content creation, I think the best thing to do is to just start. I know it's a played out expression, kind of cliche, but honestly, just taking that step and, like they said, being vulnerable is a powerful weapon, especially when you have something to share and you have something to share. I know a lot of people have a voice and they want to share things, but they're fearful of doing it. I think just, take that chance, take a leap of faith and just start. So yeah.
One quick thing I'll add to that is don't worry about the gear.
That's a good one.
Yeah, way too many beginners think, oh, I need this expensive camera or all this expensive lighting. You don't. You probably have a smartphone in your pocket. That's good enough. Start with that. If you're able to invest anything into equipment, you don't even have to do this to start, but when you can spend maybe $20, $30, $40, buy a microphone first. If people can't understand you clearly, they're going to check out.
Yep.
But they can forgive poor lighting or a grainy video. They really don't care. It's more about the storytelling, the content. So don't fixate on gear. Just get started, like Michael said. If you're an existing content creator and you're wondering how to take things to the next level, this is something I'm working on myself, so I'm not an expert on it, but I would say you really want to focus on owning your platform and your audience. And I think WordPress is a great way to do that. It's going to take some effort. It's going to be more of a time investment and or monetary investment, depending on if you bring on an agency to use WordPress over other tools. But think about the end result. I think it's worth the payoff in the end to own that platform, control it, have full access to all the levers, the entire experience over going to a third-party platform and then kind of being stuck to whatever they offer.
Awesome, and Tess, your turn.
Sure. I actually love what you said about not investing too much in gear, and the web equivalent of that is don't spend too long on the design of your site. I go into this hole of like tweaking little bits of design, and that's just taking time away from creating the content. The design can be changed later infinitely, especially on WordPress. You know, you've got so much customizability of your site. Just start getting your content out there, and you'll see like what people like. You'll see how it makes you feel. One thing that I've found is that once I am actually regularly creating content, more of it just comes. It's sort of like you get into a flow, and so I think just practice that and don't worry too much about the nitty-gritty of how it looks. Just get started.
Yeah, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, this was great. I have nothing else to say. I'm out of yapping, but you know, I would say thank you so much to everybody who's tuned in. Thank you, and I hope that you guys learned something. And please follow WordPress on TikTok. And Michelle?
I would just want to say thank you too. Thank you to Darian, my partner in crime, for most of these things. Tess, thank you. Christian and Michael, thank you so much for being here today. And Ryan, who was here earlier. So.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.